New American Weekly presents Front Page Drama.
Better not call me again. That dumb sheriff might just have sense enough to have somebody listen in on your line.
I won't give him the chance. And by day after tomorrow, it'll be all over. We'll be sitting pretty and safe. Absolutely safe.
And so the plans were laid for a crime that might have gone undiscovered had it not been for an unsuspected silent witness that revealed the fatal truth. Listen to an exciting story brought to you by the New American Weekly, the great magazine that's distributed with a leading Sunday newspaper in this city. The spreading acres of Carl Barron's property were the richest and finest in the community of farms surrounding the township of Blue Lake. Everything about the place reflected the good sense and industry of its owner. One evening in early summer, Barron's drove up in his car with the sheriff beside him and affectionately greeted the pretty girl who sat rocking on the wide porch of the farmhouse. She jumped to her feet, not noticing that Barron's was not alone.
Pa, another of those cards came with this afternoon's mail. Oh,
Edna, you know Sheriff Anderson, I guess. My stepdaughter, Sheriff. Good evening.
How do you do?
I've been telling him about those postcards, Edna. If you got one handy, you'd like to see what it's like.
It's just about the same as the other. Mrs. Aaron said when I showed it to her that you ought to do something.
Oh, now, Edna, I don't know as you ought to keep broadcasting about them, showing them to people.
Well, I should say the more people know about them, the better chance we have to find out where they come from. Here, Sheriff, just look at this.
Let's see. Once more, I'm warning you. Move out of here or you're a dead man. You know why. Plain 2-cent card, no signature, of course, no handwriting. Printed in big block letters. Mailed in Blue Lake. About how many of these have come?
Oh, I'd say maybe a dozen, all about the same.
And surely, Sheriff Anderson, that you know why must mean something. Oh, if Pa would only think back. Figure out what could have happened maybe long ago.
I keep telling you, Edna, I got nothing like that to think back to.
Oh, I know.
I never gave any man a reason to hold a grudge against me.
Yeah, you got the name for that. You got a gun, Barron?
Yeah, I've been keeping it handy just so Edna won't feel so nervous.
Well, I'll take this postcard along, give it to my deputy Lund, see if he can't trace it.
Oh, sit down, Sheriff. Have a glass of beer before you go. Edna, got any beer on ice?
Oh, sure. I'll bring it right out.
Thank you.
Proud of her, aren't you?
Yeah.
And no wonder. She's a mighty pretty girl.
Yeah, and a good girl, too, Sheriff. Of course, I'd feel easier in my mind if she was to marry some nice fella so she won't have the whole burden of the place when I'm gone. It'll all be hers, you know.
Yeah.
I fixed that, yeah. Now, though, there's more than one making sheep's eyes at her. She don't seem to care about him. Happy just to work the farm with me.
But didn't she go around with that Ben Foster who took over that place down the road last year?
Yeah, some, till I put a stop to it.
I don't blame you. Handsome guy, but not much good.
He'll never make anything out of his farm if he don't buckle down to it. Seems to be just stalling, waiting around for the crops to come up by themselves, maybe. I told Edna he wasn't the kind for her, and, well, good girl that she is, she just said, "Okay, Pa," where lots of daughters would have given me an argument. And that's been the end of it.
Here you are.
Oh, thanks, honey. Hits the spot, don't it, Sheriff?
Yep. Sure does. It's been a hot day.
Yeah, kind of weather that's hard on people, but best in the world for corn. Well, say, Edna, will you tell Joe to wash the car? Windows are all covered with dust.
Oh, sure, Pa. I'll hunt him up right away.
Thanks.
Hello?
Hello, Ben, darling.
Oh, hi there, baby. How come you call me now? Old man's home, isn't he?
Yes, but he's out on the porch talking to the sheriff. He told him about those postcards.
About time he was taking notice of them. What'd I tell you? Now, you just wait.
I'm tired of waiting, Ben. I want to get it over with. so we can be free and together. Sell the place and go away.
Then get busy with that stuff I gave you.
No, Ben. That's too slow. And it's not safe either. Well, if he got sick and died from something he ate or drank here, people might wonder.
Well, suppose he got a cut on his finger or something. You could make it look like
No.
it wasn't.
No, I've got a better plan. Quick and sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, I thought of it while he and the sheriff were talking about his gun. Tomorrow night I'll meet...
Easy, baby. Not over the phone.
Meet me tonight, Ben. Same place, and I'll tell you.
Okay. And, you better not call me again. That dumb sheriff might just have sense enough to have somebody listen in on your line.
I won't give him the chance. And by day after tomorrow, it'll be all over. We'll be sitting pretty, Ben, and safe. Absolutely safe.
You about ready, Edna? Last show starts at 9.
Yes, I know. I'm coming. Here I am.
All dressed up nice, too. Oh, I tell you, it makes me feel proud. It isn't every girl that asks her old stepfather to take her to the movies with plenty of young fellas who would jump at the chance.
Oh, now you know, Pa. I love to go places with you. So come along and don't be calling yourself old either.
Yeah. Well, it's turned chilly. Want me to shut this window?
Yes, please, Pa. This is a thin dress, and I feel cool all the more since it's been so hot.
Yeah. Well, I hope it doesn't cool off too much. Hey, don't look to me as if Joe's washed the car. Edna, did you tell him?
Oh, dear, I'm afraid I forgot. I've been so busy. But I will.
Edna, why...
Help! Help! Oh, quick, somebody! Help!
And so on that lonely, quiet road, death, sudden and violent, struck down Carl Barron's, who had scoffed at warnings and refused to believe that his life was in danger. Listen in a moment when we'll bring you the smashing climax to this front-page drama from the files of the American Weekly. What's it like being married to one of the country's leading statesmen, himself a candidate for president? Well, in an exclusive article appearing in this Sunday's issue of the great new American Weekly, Mrs. Robert A. Taft tells about The Man I Married. Mrs. Taft refutes the notion that Robert Taft has ever been a cold or distant man, and she recounts many instances which prove him to be a warm, friendly human being. Be sure to read The Man I Married by Mrs. Robert A. Taft, illustrated with intimate family photographs from the family album, and written exclusively for the coming issue of the great new American Weekly, carried with a leading Sunday newspaper on sale in this city. And now back to our front-page drama. When Sheriff Anderson hurried to the Barron's farm after the tragedy, he carefully examined the fatal car. Then, directing his deputy, Lund, to stand on guard outside, he walked first around to the side of the house. The blinds of the front windows were drawn, but through the lighted window on the side, he saw Ben Foster, his arm around Edna's shoulders, looking over some papers with her. Then he returned to the front of the house, knocked on the door.
Oh, Sheriff Anderson, I'm so glad you've come. You know Ben Foster, don't you?
Hello, Sheriff. Not losing any time, are you, Foster?
Oh, he's been wonderful, Sheriff. Ben was the first to reach me, and he's taking charge now. I know it's what Pa would have wished.
Nothing I wouldn't do for Edna. I want to help you catch up with that fellow that did for my good friend Barron's.
You will catch him, won't you? That fiend who sent those threats and... Oh, if Pa had only been more careful.
Yeah, he should have realized his danger.
You can be sure, both of you, that nobody commits cold-blooded murder in Blue Lake and gets away with it. Now then, Edna, according to your statement, your stepfather pulled to the side of the road and stopped to light his pipe. Then this fellow rushed out of the cornfield and fired through the open window. Did you get a look at his face?
No, just his hand, holding the gun, and a handkerchief tied over his face. But that's not telling you much, is it?
Maybe more than you think. Now, I want to see your stepfather's gun.
What? I don't know where it is. I haven't seen it for ages. But why? You can't think anybody got in here and stole it.
I think when we find that gun, it'll show the fingerprints of Barron's murderer.
Oh,
Take it easy, Edna.
Come on out to the car with me, and I'll show you what I mean. And you come along, too, Foster.
Please, Sheriff. I know you don't mean it, but you're hurting my arm.
Now, you say the window on the driver's side was down, as it is now, when the shots were fired.
Yes, of course it was. And Pa slumped forward and sideways.
Hang on to your nerve, Edna.
I can see that from the blood on the seat and the windshield, and as you'll see when I open the window. The inside of the glass is stained with blood, but on the outside, not a drop. Nothing but dust on the window. And if the window had been down, some of the blood would have been spattered onto the outside. That's how I know you're lying when you say the window was open.
Well, how dare you stand there and...
That's how I know both windows were closed. No bullet holes in either one. So I know those shots were fired inside the car.
What do you mean?
You shot him, didn't you, Edna, with his own gun for his property and money.
It's a lie.
And for the man he told you to have nothing to do with.
You're crazy. Everybody knows some man hated him and sent threatening notes.
You took care everybody would know about them, didn't you? But we've already got that man, Edna. I guess it won't be hard to prove Foster was in it with you and that he sent those postcards. You two should have known better than to try going into competition with the government. It wasn't so smart trying to set up your own dead letter office.
And so a pair of callous murderers were trapped by a smart sheriff who spotted the one fatal telltale bit of evidence they overlooked. This has been another front-page drama presented by the New American Weekly. Naturally, real names have not been used. Beatrice Fairfax, well-known advisor to the lovelorn, has written a timely feature for June newlyweds, which will appear in the coming issue of the great New American Weekly. According to Miss Fairfax, whose desk is piled high each day with the heartaches of humanity, marriage is no ticket to permanent happiness, and its problems cannot be tossed off as casually as a bridal bouquet. Miss Fairfax invites readers of the New American Weekly to go through a day's mail with her, and she explores problems which arise out of the 10 most common mistakes made by brides or bridegrooms. Read this timely and helpful feature, along with many others, in the coming issue of the great New American Weekly, on sale with the leading Sunday newspaper in this city.